Time now for your forewarned weather with Cedric Haynes.
Okay, another day of haze in the books, isn't it?
Boy, Cedric, are you getting tired of saying the same thing?
You know, you could probably say something like that. You know, but every day is a little different. It's a little different. So, you know, some days we have light haze, some days we have thick haze, some days we just have unbelievable haze. So that's kind of a difference here. Now, tonight, we've got haze, we've got fog, we've got smog, and we've got cold temperatures. Already 26 outside the ABC Ford studios. And you notice this gray, milky color there? Yeah, that's actually some pretty dense fog that's developing on the west side of town. And I do want to let you know we've got a dense fog alert that's in effect here for the Salt Lake Valley, over towards Davis County and Weber County. We've got from Ogden down through basically West Jordan. Be careful if you're driving tonight. At times, visibility will drop less than a quarter of a mile and could slow you down, so you're going to want to be careful with that. Also over towards the Tooele Valley as well. But not only are we talking about this potential lowered visibility here, especially for routes near the Great Salt Lake and around it, but we're also talking about the potential with the temperatures well below freezing. Some of this fog could actually freeze on some of the elevated surfaces like bridges and overpasses and create a few slick spots. I don't think it'll be widespread, but you got to be careful because we are dealing with moisture and freezing temperatures. Here's a view from over towards the Magna area, and you can see, again, barely see the headlights from the cars there because we've got all that fog that's really becoming more widespread and dense in this area. But as you notice on the other side of the roadway here, notice how it's not quite as dense. So you can see what I mean. As you're driving, you'll run through times of good visibility, and then it drops off just like that. But as I mentioned, with temperatures well below freezing, as that moisture comes off of the Great Salt Lake, we get the evaporation process, and so we get that dew to form on those elevated surfaces. Well, what happens is the temperature at the surface is below freezing. So now you've got those super cool droplets of water or moisture there that can freeze on some of the elevated surfaces or spots there on like steps and decks and things like that, and that's when you can get some slick spots. Again, I don't think it'll be widespread, but just slow it down. Be careful. 2 hands on the steering wheel late tonight, and especially for early tomorrow morning for your morning commute out there, as some of this activity you'll kind of notice some of that glistening or shining showing up on some of those elevated surfaces, and that's those super cool water droplets that are beginning to freeze. So be careful, but otherwise, this is what we're dealing with. The Ensign Peak camera, this is that smog that we're talking about that's stuck due to that inversion layer, which continues to grow today, and we've seen the air quality get a little worse, and that's going to be the case through Saturday before things start to get better. So code orange out there for you tonight. It's going to stay code orange for your Friday and Saturday. We may see it get a little better starting on Sunday, but even then, it's going to take a little more time before it gets completely clear out there. So the air quality tomorrow, if you're from Ogden down through Utah County, yeah, it's going to be tough sledding. And even around that, we've got that moderate air quality. But southern Utah, that's your best bet to get away from all this stuff. Down towards Ivins, Utah, beautiful weather out there today. Notice in Iron County, we had some beautiful sunsets sent in from Susie and Mark here, showing us here some beautiful weather, not nearly as much of an inversion level there. The Arctic air to the east, high pressure sitting on us, giving us that lid, trapping all the pollution and the smog to the south. That stays with us through Saturday, but Sunday we start to break down that ridge, and I think Monday is the day when the colder air arrives and helps to erode that inversion because it gets rid of the warmer air, and that allows for things to vent a little bit into the atmosphere. Again, temperatures tonight in the 20s and 30s across most of the state right now. We're likely going to be down into the 20s, if not some teens out there in some isolated spots, but we're back in the 40s to low 60s there tomorrow with more of the same weather expected. As far as that next storm system arriving, again, it looks to arrive as we get towards the end of the week there, as we get towards Sunday into Monday. Could bring us some light accumulations, but I'm not expecting too much from it in terms of accumulations. But it will help to clear the air, not so much in St. George, you don't really need it, but along the Wasatch Front, we need it, and it looks like it'll happen probably around Monday. We may be able to get some cold green air.
Oh, well, that'd be nice.
At least for a few days.
Cedric, when does the fog stop and the smog start?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Depends on what neighborhood you're in, because, you know, you got the water coming off the Great Salt Lake, and you got the smog from everybody on the road.
I'll take fog over smog.
Yeah, there you go. At least that burns off.
I guess.
Oh, yeah. And we're talking about a little hog, pigskin.
Oh.